Hey, it's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel. I have another What's for Dinner video for you guys where I show you what I feed my blended family of 6 from Monday to Friday. So let's get right into it. First up, sheet pan chicken stir fry. If you want to see how this goes together, then keep watching. Now, I just go ahead and throw my rice in my rice cooker like I showed in my last What's for Dinner. I'm using basmati. I throw a little bit of garlic pepper or garlic powder, pepper, and I use chicken broth instead of water. I will say it wasn't my favorite rice this time. I am a big fan of jasmine rice. Everybody else loved it, but we're always our own worst critic, right? I mean, it turned out okay. I used 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. It did burn a little bit on the bottom, so it was a little bit tough. Maybe a little bit more water next time. I usually like to make my rice early in the day, so that's one less step I have to do. Here's everything I use for the stir fry. I'm going to go ahead and use a red pepper, half of this package of the broccoli because I want to use the rest for another meal later on. I'm going to use some olive oil just to kind of coat it. Garlic powder. I love this everything but the bagel seasoning that I ordered from Amazon from Trader Joe's. A little bit of the organic no salt seasoning, pepper, and the stir fry chicken that I meal prepped on my weekend prep video, which I'll link below. So here's everything you're going to need just for this sheet pan. Now, if you saw my other video, you saw that I showed you one way to cut up a pepper. This is another. Honestly, I just kind of go with whichever way the wind moves me. Now you can chop them into whatever size you like. This is the size I like because I wanted it to be cooked in a good 20 minutes. And honestly, they weren't too soft. They were just the right texture. Now I'm just going to follow the same steps with the broccoli, cut them into bite-sized pieces, whatever you think you guys want to eat it, whatever size. And again, just think about how quickly you want to cook this. I went ahead and transferred bowls. Again, I'm really bad at perceiving space. So I transferred into another bowl so I can mix it up a little bit better. 2 things I forgot to show you, some soy sauce and garlic that I'm gonna go ahead and throw onto the chicken once I get it all chopped up into bite-sized pieces as well. Again, with the chicken, think about how quick you want it to cook. Mine took 20 minutes at 425. It was perfect. Now, if you've seen any of my What's for Dinner videos, you know that I don't measure anything. Basically, I'm just putting enough soy sauce to coat the chicken and a good heaping teaspoon of garlic. However much garlic you want to taste, that's how much you should use. I go ahead and put a few tablespoons of olive oil onto the vegetables and use my hands to make sure everything is coated. So when I put the spices on, every little bit of broccoli and red pepper gets some of it on there. I went ahead and added some of the Trader Joe's seasoning, everything but the bagel. Took me a minute to remember what that's called. I put a good amount on there, guys. I like that it has all the seeds and the garlic in there already. Squirt it on. I had to squirt it because it would not shake out of the container. Some of the garlic powder.
It's too late now to turn around and back again.
Now just go ahead and give it a good mix. I just used a fork here. Everything's pretty well coated. And I'm also going to shake a very small amount of ground ginger onto this.
I'm sorry I'm not perfect, but I knew that I wouldn't be. I guess it's for the best.
And of course, back to the best kitchen tools you have, your hands.
I'm no good at being good, but I never said I was.
Now go ahead and save yourself some cleanup and line a cookie sheet with aluminum foil. Then you just get to fold it up and throw it in the garbage. I mix everything, vegetables and chicken all together so it's all flat. Nothing should be piled on top of each other, just to be sure everything is exposed to the heat and will cook evenly and quickly. Now you could do this with shrimp or anything else. Just remember, I would do the vegetables for a little bit first because it doesn't take quite as long to cook. The chicken takes a while to cook. I also improvised because if you remember one of my videos, I didn't have any soy sauce, but I had this teriyaki sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle some on top just to kick it up a notch. Here's what it should look like. Go ahead and stick it in the oven. I cooked mine at 425, originally set it for 15 minutes. I pulled it out at 15, kind of stirred it up a little bit, and then threw it in for another 5 minutes. It was perfect. Grab yourself a meat thermometer if you're doubting, but it was ready to go. Now I just served this over top the rice. You could do this with ramen noodles. Next time, like I said, I'm gonna make jasmine rice because that's my favorite, but everybody gobble it up. There's a couple leftovers in the fridge for lunches. But guys, this was supper for Monday night. In an effort not to disappoint, we have Taco Tuesday, so keep watching. Now, one thing I like to stress and really emphasize is working within the confines of your family and what you have going on. So for us, we're very busy and active throughout the week. We have a lot of activities. I like to prepare meals that I can do earlier in the day, heat up, or have things that people can grab and go when they need to. Tacos is one of those things. I always cook my meat earlier in the day and prep everything I need to put them together. So that's what I'm doing here. So when everyone gets home from school, because we have 4 kids who all go to 4 different schools, so our timings are off a little bit, and we have 3 different activities tonight. So it's a busy night. Taco Tuesday is really the best option for us. They can pull it from the fridge, heat it up when they need it, and we're good to go. Plus they have lunches for the next day. So here we go. I've got the meat all prepped in my Dutch oven. I just used the old El Paso seasoning mix. I have a large can of it that I bought on sale. Once that's gone, I've said it before, I'm going to go ahead and buy the Clubhouse version of it. But for now, this will do. This is typically how we set up when we're having tacos. I just leave the meat kind of on low heat on the stove and lay everything out kind of buffet style for everybody to serve themselves. And there you have it, guys. That's how we serve up tacos in our house. This was dinner for Tuesday night. All right, guys, it's Wednesday. We're having a classic poutine with homemade french fries and real cheese curds. You want to see how we put this together? Just keep watching. First up, find some good-sized potatoes that you know you can cut into that classic french fry shape. Usually russets are pretty good. These are baking potatoes at my grocery store. I just go ahead and peel them with a peeler, just kind of loosely, so they get that, you know, where you go into like a steakhouse or something and the fries always have a little bit of peel on them. This will give them that really nice look. Now, just for time constraints that I have tonight, I'm going to be showing you guys 2 different ways to cook these, so make sure you keep watching. I'm going to do the air fryer and a deep fryer. Now that these are peeled, I just take a little slit off the side so I have a flat surface to work with to slice up my potatoes. And just slice them in either 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, whatever your preference is for your french fries. These are just somewhere in between 1/2 and 1/4 inch.
I'm fine without you. You're begging me to come out with you. I don't know, I'm fine without you.
All right, once your fries are cut to the right shape, go ahead and soak them in some ice cold water. You can do this for an hour before or even up to overnight. The longer the better. You're going to soak out the starches, which are going to make your fries stick together. This way, they'll be light and fluffy on the inside and nice and crispy on the outside. Honestly, it took no time. I did it first thing in the morning, switched the water out 30 minutes in, and then let them soak till I was ready to cook. Now, the only tip is to make sure your fries are really dry, pat them down well. The first thing we're gonna do is try out the Ninja Foodie, so let's get into it. Now with the air fryer, because you're not using a lot of oil, so your seasonings won't adhere to your fries after they're cooked, not quite as well, I want to season them before. So before I put them into the air fryer, I just use some canola oil. You could use olive oil, whatever you prefer. I'm going to put a little bit of regular table salt, some Lowry seasoning salt, and some pepper. Now here they are. I just made sure they were all well coated with my hands. I'm gonna go ahead. My air fryer's been preheating for about 5 minutes. First, I'm gonna set it at 360. I cooked them for about 10 minutes at 360. Then I cranked it up high to 400 and did them for about another 5 to 7 minutes. Basically until they're the texture that you want, but these turned out really crispy. I was happy with them. This is the Rose Hill Brown Gravy Mix from Costco that I bought a while back. Basically, you can make a liter at a time or break it down depending on how much you're gonna need. I went ahead and made the liter, and you're gonna see in a minute, it turns out super thick and rich, really delicious. You don't need to add anything. Now, like I said, you could use cheese curds or mozzarella. I'm a classic girl, I like cheese curds, and these are really kind of tough and rubbery, but I'm telling you, they melt down delicious. I like to break mine up so I have a few bites everywhere. Some people pile them right in the middle and dump the gravy over top. Whatever you prefer, this is your night, this is your house, you're cooking. All right, I wanted to compare the air fryer and the deep fryer, so I'm using my Krups air fryer or Krups air fryer from Amazon that I ordered. Go ahead and use almost this entire container of 5-liter jug of oil. Costco's the best price, you guys. It comes with 3 sets of baskets. It's got these 2 here if you're doing 2 separate types of items, or in our case, we're gonna use the large basket, which an advantage to the air fryers, I find I can cook a lot more French fries at once because the air doesn't need to circulate. The first thing is to go ahead and preheat it to 300 degrees because we're gonna kind of cook our fries before we go ahead and deep fry them to make them crispy. This is gonna assure that they stay kind of fluffy and soft in the middle and crispy on the outside. Now, once it's ready, my deep fryer usually takes about 20 minutes to heat up. Go ahead and lower them in. This can take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. You don't want to do it too long. I did mine almost a little bit too long because they started to break a bit, but honestly, it didn't hurt them in the end. They still turned out delicious. At this point, go ahead and let them drain a little bit and then drop them onto a rack with paper towel lined cookie sheets. This is the perfect system I've found. It's the less mess and it really helps drain them a little bit. You could leave them sit indefinitely for an hour or so if you wanted. I just went ahead and cranked up my deep fryer to 375. Once it was ready, I went ahead and dumped them right back in. At this point, don't go too far. It only takes 5 or 6 minutes for your fries to crisp up. I go ahead and stir it with a wooden spoon, make sure nothing's sticking together. You can give it a gentle little shake, but with oil, I don't like to mess around. Now this is the color I like my fries to turn out. If you want them darker, by all means cook them longer, but these were perfect. Chips, if you will. I go ahead and season them as soon as they come out of the fryer so that it sticks to the oil. I just put some salt on here. It was amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it to another cookie sheet because the boys are at football and they won't be home for an hour. So I set my oven to 200 degrees just to keep them warm, and they will stay crispy until they get home. Now these were light and crispy, delicious, and in a poutine, amazing as well. But I will have to say at the end of the day, I still choose the air fryer. I find it a little less rich and a little less oily, if that makes any sense. This was the poutine from the deep fryer. It really was good, guys. The kids inhaled it when they got home. But again, my favorite, the air fryer. Poutine was dinner for Wednesday night. All right, Thursday night supper was ranch cheddar chicken. I will link the recipe down below. Now for the ingredients, you're gonna need some ranch dressing. This is what we're gonna use to douse our chicken. I also need a little bit of olive oil for the roasted broccoli and the potatoes that I'm gonna be doing in the air fryer. Right here I have a big bowl of russet potatoes that I'm gonna peel. I'm gonna go ahead and douse them in some of this ranch seasoning that I have in a packet. I'm also gonna use the rest of the broccoli I had from a previous recipe. I will cut that up into smaller bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna use some garlic powder, some dried parsley, some organic no salt seasoning from Kirkland, a very small amount of salt for the broccoli because the Parmesan cheese has a lot in it already. I'm gonna go ahead and use this freshly grated Parmesan for the broccoli itself. I just put that in near the end. Also some panko breadcrumbs for the cheddar chicken. I keep wanting to say bacon. I should have put bacon on it. That must mean what that means. Before I prep any of my vegetables, I'm gonna go ahead and get the chicken breast ready. Basically, you can marinate these or just do it right before. I kind of just did it right before. Just go ahead and douse them in some ranch dressing, make sure they're fully coated, and then set them aside. If you have very large chicken breasts, I would recommend slicing them in half or filleting them. These are the chicken breasts that I prepped in my previous video where I bought them at Costco, said they were super thick, so I just butterflied them, so they're about half the thickness. Now here I go, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut up this broccoli into bite-sized pieces. Now once you have it all ready the way you'd like it, go ahead and pour some olive oil on here. I was a little heavy-handed, you guys. I would say 2 tablespoons is more than sufficient. And if you want to make sure that your seasonings adhere to your broccoli, go ahead and use your hands to make sure that the oil is fully distributed throughout the broccoli. And now at this point, I am adding a very small amount of salt, but this is totally a personal preference. It did not need it. If anything, it was a little bit salty, but we like it like that. It would have been great without the salt. I went ahead and added some pepper and some garlic powder as well. And just go ahead and give it a good stir. I'm just using a fork here. My stoneware pan from Pampered Chef is my ultimate favorite. You can see I've used it a lot. Just go ahead and spread these out evenly so they'll roast just right. Catch me if you can. All right, next up, let's prep our potatoes. These were starting to look a little haggard, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a paring knife to peel them just because there were some spots I needed to get off. I'll be for the rest of my life. Time is gonna take me. No, I'm just trying to take my time. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take these and cut them into roughly 1-inch cubes. We're cooking them in the air fryer, so I'm not too worried about them not cooking through, but you want them in a nice bite-sized piece. Colder with time, and I'm wondering if maybe all this. All right, so time to go ahead and season our potatoes. I'm gonna show you the way we like to do it. I do switch it up every time. Today, I went ahead and added some minced dehydrated onion. Also gonna spray a little bit of garlic powder on there and some pepper. And I'm gonna finish off a little packet of ranch seasoning mix. If you've seen any of my What's for Dinner videos, you'll know that it's probably 2 recipes this has got me through. So it's served me well. And you see some green there, that's just some dehydrated parsley. Now here they all are, ready for the air fryer. All right, so next it's time to batter our chicken. I forgot to mention I shredded up some old cheddar cheese, which is gonna go into our little dredge here. I'm gonna go ahead and pour, this says about 1/4 cup of panko. You can just eyeball it, equal parts panko, a good portion amount of Parmesan. I'm using the Kraft grated kind just because I think it'll blend better with the panko. Go ahead and add as much shredded cheese as you're liking. It says about 1/4 cup, but honestly, it's whatever looks good to you. So now just take your chicken breast, soak off any excess of the ranch. Honestly, mine's not homemade. If you have homemade ranch, it's a little runnier, so let it drip off. Otherwise, this was pretty much the perfect amount. I just go ahead and push it into the panko mixture and make sure every little bit is coated. Oh, I'm just gonna take my time. I just go ahead and bake them on a parchment lined baking sheet just for ease of cleanup and just to guarantee that nothing's gonna stick. Once I've coated all of them, I'm gonna take the rest that's in this pan and kind of press it into any spots that I see don't have any coating. Lost track of the forest through the trees, forgot what I was chasing. So 400 degrees for 20 minutes is what the recipe says. I upped it for the last 5 minutes to 450, especially to help crisp up my broccoli as I bake them together. All right, lastly is our roasted potatoes in the air fryer. Go ahead and preheat this at around 390 or high at 400 for about 5 minutes. Not gonna wait till the morning. Now dump your potatoes in your air fryer. Make sure you shake them once or twice within the 20 minutes and they should be good to go. Now, one reason I'm so particular about prepping things and having things ready to go is this is everything cooking and my kitchen is spotless. It makes me so happy to know that this is good to go, and I get a moment to play with Belle and the dogs.
My best friend, an apologetic text, he says to come over.
All right, now back to work. I'm gonna go ahead and pull my broccoli out because I do need to give it a little stir and sprinkle on the Parmesan. We want to leave that near the end because we don't want it to burn.
On the grill, and I think that I will be alright. And my ex from high school still looks just the same as she did back in 2009. Not gonna wait till the morning. Let's never put the night on ice.
All right, and this is about the point when I cranked the heat up to 450 just to give everything a good crisp.
Right here, chilling with my friends for another year. I would walk away from the...
Now, if you want your potatoes to be a little bit darker, then you could certainly leave them in longer, but these are perfect for us. All right, here's the chicken breast coming out of the oven, super golden brown, so delicious. The broccoli was perfect, had just the right amount of bite, just the right amount of cheese. And last minute decision, I opened up a can of gravy for the roasted potatoes. So here it is, guys, the final result. Cheddar ranch chicken breast, Parmesan roasted broccoli, and garlic roasted potatoes in the air fryer. I sliced some fresh tomato with some homemade beets and pickles. Guys, this was delicious, and this was supper for Thursday night. All right, guys, it's Friday. We went out tonight for Chinese food, but not just any Chinese food, because Belle and I took a road trip to Halifax to visit my parents. If you're ever in the Dartmouth, Nova Scotia area, definitely check out the Modern Orchid in Dartmouth Crossing. It's absolutely delicious. It's where we always go for Chinese food. And Belle had to show off her new case and pop socket. Now, don't get me wrong, I love takeout at home, but there's something about eating hot, fresh Chinese food right in the restaurant. It hits me in the right spot every time. Belle had chicken balls and rice. I had the Mongolian beef, which did not disappoint. We pretty well cleaned our plates and had nothing left to take home. Super happy, super impressed with this meal. You guys, this was Friday night's dinner. I'm not gonna lie, I was happy to have the break and not have to cook. All right, you guys, that was my What's for Dinner for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Monday to Friday ideas, like I said, you can tweak them to fit your family, your size, less, more ingredients, less ingredients. It's your kitchen, guys. You guys have fun in it. Like I've said before, making these videos motivates me to do this for my family. I just hope watching them does the same for you guys. If you guys enjoy these videos, please take a second and subscribe. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any more of my videos. And I will see you guys again in a week. Have a great weekend.
Thirsty.
I'm Friday. Why don't you come over Saturday for a Sunday?
Okay. You buying?
And don't miss my weekend mini prep in Halifax vlog coming Sunday night. Take care.